Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am aware of the fact that after the lunch, it's hard for me to keep you alert. So I will try to make this presentation as simple as possible. Definitely, it is not going to be very highly technical. I would like to draw our kind attention on a couple of things related to smart city and relevance of smart policing, and also I will touch upon few fundamental or essential technologies required for smart policing and certain challenges, and how really the best smart city objectives can be achieved using safe city infrastructure. In my opinion, there is no smart city, or smart cities cannot exist without safety infrastructure in place. The safety infrastructure that is essentially required for smart policing. Now let us look at the smart city definition from the vision document prepared by the Urban Ministry. Of course, it is very well articulated document in which a major thrust is given on smart infrastructure, building smart cities using or by providing basic infrastructure required for the same. And also, somewhere one liner is seen like safety and security of citizens, the infrastructure required for safety and security of citizens, particularly women, children, and the elderly people. So there is a vision to have a smart city which are more secured. Now, if you look at the list of cities announced and the projects identified under smart city, they have followed another good fundamental concept that whatever smart city they are going to build are going to touch upon or address some location specific issues, and those infrastructure will be brought in, which I agree that yes, that is the way to build smart city, because unless you address what is the location specific problem, that is not going to be really a smart city. But my question is, whatever urban infrastructure or smart cities we are going to build, are they going to be secured? Why we are not really focusing on smart security required for most of this smart infrastructure? Maybe in the name of smart city, they are going to build the water supply, uninterrupted, the infrastructure required for uninterrupted water supply or uninterrupted power supply. So these are all critical infrastructures. So is there any provision made to make them secure? After investment of more than 15 billion US dollar, we are going to build the smart city infrastructure, but with a minimum focus on smart policing or smart security infrastructure in place. So I am sure one of this component, that is smart security, will be considered in the smart city initiative. Now, what is smart city? Why it is important? What is smart security or smart policing, and why it is important from in the context of modern policing? Well, as you are aware, the police departments are responsible for managing or attending a broad spectrum of crime, starting from petty crimes such as people's wallets or bags, or violent crimes, and also sometimes organized crimes and terrorist attack. They are the first responders. Maybe not necessary that they have to really go and fight the terrorist, because they are still not well equipped. But at least the first responders should be able to act as a deterrence. So the present situation is, yes, our police agencies are trained enough to manage some of the crimes and maintain the law and order. But what about when the incidents such as 26/11 happened? How much time it took really to minimize the damage? So it is necessary that under smart policing, they should be made smart to at least provide a quick response and ensure that minimum damage is done, because when the terrorist attack happens, damage, whatever damage has to happen would happen. So for that, it is important to leverage on the state-of-the-art technologies. Of course, there are many projects initiated by the police department under police modernization scheme, like CCTNS is one good example. So we should leverage on some of these technologies. And I am not saying here that technologies are the replacement to human power or human knowledge or human interference. No. Technology is something which will enable the modern police to provide quick response and with a better efficiency. Now, what are those technologies? Well, some of the fundamental technologies are like emergency response systems, or what you call it as a dial 100 systems. Then there are also command and control systems which can leverage on the existing infrastructure which have been already built under smart city or the erstwhile safe city concept. And these technologies are primarily meant for response, providing better response. In other words, it is more of a reactive basis. But keeping the prevention in mind, it is important for the for the police to leverage on the IT infrastructure, build such a IT infrastructure, we can connect to the various systems that are deployed across the state or across the districts and come out with some preventive measures. Now, whatever I am presenting is something not new. The dial 100, the emergency response systems, or the command and control systems, all these systems were envisaged when, I think almost 3 years back, the Ministry of Home Affairs came out with a vision document for Safe City. But in the subsequent years, of course, some cities were allocated with the funds, and in some places they focused only on CCTV surveillance. And in the previous sessions, of course, my colleagues have already, industry colleagues especially, have spoken about what are those technologies. Like one is video analytics by AlgoVision, and another company talked about the importance of auditing the surveillance systems, which is very, very important because, yes, I know that, of course, I cannot give you examples here, but it is a fact that in many places, some of these video surveillance cameras are not working. And okay, sitting from morning till evening in the control room, operators will be seeing the video, and I don't know really how effective it is going to be. So keeping such things in mind, it is important to have the command and control systems. We should give them some voice-enabled alerts so that they should be able to follow some standard operating procedures and address the requirements. Now, let us look at the computer-aided dispatch systems. Well, traditionally, the computer-aided dispatch systems, you are aware that they were heavily dependent on the earlier telephony and, earlier telephony. And as and when the call is coming in, they would enter the call details and send the response vehicles, whatever. So that was maintained as a database. What was missing here was the location intelligence. So in the modern times, the location intelligence is also being added. Of course, in some, if you closely do some audit or inspect or you go for introspection of the existing systems deployed under various schemes, you will find that in the name of location enablement, only what you would see is the movement of the vehicle on a map, but not really the location, that the location of the incident is properly captured and kept in the database. And that is one of the good assets for prevention measures, which I will cover in the subsequent slides. So now the whole CAD systems are emerging with a strong fundamental concept that it should be able to support any device, anywhere and anytime. So what do I mean by any device, anytime, anywhere? Any device can be our mobile, it can be our landline also, or it can be a social media also. Now, if you look at the mobile technology, of course, the mobile technology when you dial the number or police control room, unfortunately in this country, the location-based services is not enabled, so they will not be, or the operator in the control room cannot really make out from where the call is coming in. But that hype is created. So in this scenario, how is that we are going to create the incident location using the skill set that is available with the call taker? That is one challenge what we have to really look at. And of course, there are many applications like women safety application which our industry colleague presented. Well, we have tried that also, and we have provided a similar button which will not only, even if the GPS is not enabled, it will invoke the GPS and that coordinate will be shared with the dial 100. So already that integration we have achieved. But if everybody has definitely not loaded the SOS applications in their mobile. In this scenario, when the call is received in the call center, they should be able to locate how. So they will be talking to the caller and they will be entering all the information as required for the response perspective. So based on the address details, there has to be tools to locate that particular incidents using advanced search criteria and locate that incident. Once if that incident is located, that will become an incident point, and imagine per day around 10 to 15,000 calls is what some emergency response centers are addressing. What is that means is the 15,000 data points are being generated, and in the days to years to come, it is going to be a huge big data. Similarly, of course, these are some of the examples wherein we have taken care of the usability aspect and user experience aspect into the CAD environment, because our experience with Mumbai police was that the operators were not highly skilled, and quite often the hand-holding support training was to be given. Keeping that in mind, and also to improve their efficiency in terms of taking the call, we developed some very basic but very intelligent tools. For example, let us say the caller has called, so he will say, what is there? There is a robbery. So you don't expect operator to type ROBBERY, and because everybody is not good in typing, they will be using one fingerprint. With the two maybe fingers, they will be entering the data. So to avoid that, just ROB if they type, it should list the the words, and the call taker should be able to pick it up and enter that data. Similarly, what is the type of incidents and where exactly it happened, all this information can be populated. Sometimes what happens, and it's our own experience, that there will be some dummy calls. They will just call and disconnect, so it is not an actionable call. So next time when such call comes, automatically it should block that particular call. So these are some of the features which we have introduced in the advanced computer dispatch systems. Also, as I said, we should be able to communicate through multimedia. Another feature what we have added is whenever the call is received by the police control earlier, and you will find in many of the existing systems across the country, whether it was developed by us, or, deployed by us or somebody else, there is no provision to acknowledge the caller, and there is no provision to update him. So for that, we have now come out with tools which will send acknowledgement to the caller, and he will be getting regular update what is happening on a need basis. Now, when the call is received, okay, we don't know whether what is happening in the ground. So one can leverage on existing video surveillance systems. So what is that means is, from technology perspective, the system deployed should be intelligent enough to plug with the VMS systems or video analytics. On a click, let us say now the particular area details are provided in the computer dispatch system, one should be able to connect to that camera, maybe on a click of a button. Let us say the incident is shown where it is blinking. So in and around that area, they should be able to click and see what is the situation there. If it is an accident, they should be able to see the accident, and that will get into the database, and that will become an evidence for the police department to use it for the court case or whatever. And in addition to that, of course, there is a voice logger, which is one of the standard feature. In addition to that, of course, there is a provision for a 3D display. One can navigate through the road when the vehicle is moving around, they can monitor. This is what is being now introduced, because you are aware that in majority of the Indian cities, now the 3D modeling is almost completed, and in the days to come, this will be a part of the computer-aided dispatch system. Coming to command and control system, once again, this particular system is designed to minimize the damage. Of course, in the morning session, my colleague Mr. Ravi Nagalia talked about the command and control system. It is the same or similar system which can be used from the policing perspective. For example, let us say so many cameras are now deployed across the district or state or whatever city, whatever it is. So as and when the alert is created by the complementing technologies such as video analytics, in the command and control center, operator should be able to see that, and depending upon what type of alert it is, he should be able to follow their rule book or standard operating procedure, and then communicate this to multiple stakeholders, and this is how one can meet the requirements of collaborative response. So this is the example of the standard operating procedure. And of course, I have one small video which I will not play now because it is there in our stall also. So this is after once if the SOP is created and it is followed by the call taker. So multiple stakeholders are involved. Maybe it's a bomb squad, it's a health emergency vehicles have to be there, fire emergency vehicles have to be there. Then how really that overall operation to be conducted, I think you can visit our stall and have a look at it. It is really a tactical command and control system wherein while the commandos are on move, sitting there in the control room, the strategist will be, our security experts will be able to prepare their operation plan and share that operation plan with the commandos through a secured communication network. Now the question is, what secured communications network? Of course, there are various options available which you are aware. Of course, maybe to start with, they would leverage on GPRS communication network, which may not be highly secured. But for sharing the information, definitely yes, they can leverage on that. Once if they get into the crime scene, let us say there is a hostage situation, they can establish immediately their own communication network and use it for getting the information from the command and control center, and also in turn share the information of the situation on the ground, because maybe everywhere the video coverage will not be there. So they will be carrying, let us say, the video camera in their helmet. So they will be able to share that information with the command and control center. That video should be a self-explanatory. Now the point is, yes, there are so many incidences reported and so many systems are there. We have a tactical command and control system, we have an emergency response system, then we also have CCTNS, and some of the local police departments at a state level have gone ahead with their own projects and created a database. So there is a plethora of data available, and this data needs to be integrated so that it can be effectively utilized for preventive measures. I will just give you one small example. Let us say the patrolling. Police have to go for a patrolling. Where exactly they have to do the patrolling? Right now or till now, and I am sure it will continue for some more years, it is based on the knowledge that is available with the local police or the information provided by the informers. It is not any technology based. So smart policing means bringing in science and technology into the policing. So what is that science? Science is, for example, analytics. Now that you have so many systems in place, try to create a database or leverage on those database and create a hotspot map. I will show a few snapshots of that and plan your patrolling accordingly. Even if it comes to their own resource planning, they can leverage on some of these analytics. Plus, of course, analytics can also be used for prevention. When you integrate all these systems, of course, this was a typical Safecity scenario wherein various databases needs to be integrated, including the command and control. And in the Safecity concept itself, they had brought in, yeah, sure. They had brought in the fusion center concept. That fusion center concept is nothing but it's a brain wherein huge analytics infrastructure will be made available, and using that analytics infrastructure, they should be able to, I mean, the concerned security agencies or law enforcement agencies should be able to plan their resources and take some preventive measures. Ladies and gentlemen, considering the time constraint, I think I will just quickly go through. So when I said connect, we have to connect to multiple databases. What is that means is they should have advanced automated ETL tools to connect to database and transform those database and bring it on a common platform. And they can also leverage on the text mining. For example, what do I mean by text mining? Text mining is, of course, you can mine whatever information is available in whatever format, whether it is available in the social media or it is available within your infrastructure. Irrespective of in what language it is, one should be able to get information. For example, if it is something related to criminal. The moment they type in the criminal name, they should be able to get the information about that criminal and also the linkages with what all crime he was involved in and with whom all he was connected or contacted. Of course, there is a mobile technology right now, you know, some of these mobile communication systems and the mobile numbers can also be linked, and on a need basis, police agencies are getting the presence of a particular telephone number, where exactly it was. So that all those information can be linked to the person and do some analysis. So in simple terminology, I am talking about integration of all those technologies, including the database that is available as a part of your Aadhaar, for example. In the corporate world, today, they are leveraging on Aadhaar database, especially the fingerprints, to give you a telephone connection. If that is the one of the nice use case, why not when the crime happened and the forensic experts have collected some information, they cannot leverage on this. So in other words, all these technologies needs to be integrated and analyzed using the data analytics domain. And of course, these are the 5 basic analytics which they can leverage upon, and their overall executive dashboard would look like this. So executive dashboard can be used by the investigating officers, it can be used by the superiors, it can be used by the whoever officers responsible for that. In other words, whatever information is available across, it will be on their fingertips. I think this needs to be achieved by under smart policing, and these are some of the examples of hotspot analysis and link analysis in the geo-enabled environment, which is important because every crime is dependent on the location, its association, and the patterns. And also one can do predictive analysis. Now when I said predictive analysis or any of these high fund modeling things, definitely they are not the replacement, because the accuracy of that, such analytics is dependent on how the data is distributed and what model they are using. So that level of training is also important for most of the security agencies. I think with this I conclude. If any questions, you are welcome to ask. Done? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.